So, have you seen that clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene at the Cobb County Town Hall in Georgia? It's quite something, you
Mm,
know?
absolutely. It's like she was like pulled into this really intense back and forth with a message from a constituent.
Exactly. And what's crazy is that she spent almost 2 minutes arguing with a message on screen, not even in-person confrontation,
Right.
right?
Well, I mean, think about it. It's like you get a heartfelt question from someone in real life, and instead of facing them, you just argue with their written word.
Yes, and then there's that part when the protesters actually disrupt the town hall. It really adds another layer of chaos to the whole event.
Definitely. And what do you make of the overall context here? On one hand, we've got MTG defending policies that many find uh, extremely controversial, like cutting Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, while on the other, there's this serious message in the background about due process issues.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right before all the chaos with Greene, there's this clearly heartfelt testimonial from Abrego Garcia's wife. She talks about the pain of losing due process and the devastating impact on
Yep, it's
families.
truly sobering. It's almost like the clip tries to juxtapose the serious issue of um, deportation and lack of due process against this circus like behavior at the town hall.
Exactly. And you see this tension where one message is deeply emotional and the other is almost farcical. Like she's literally clashing with a written question on screen for minutes.
Yeah. And it's interesting how, despite the obvious interruptions in the protest activity, Greene manages to stick to her narrative defending tariffs, Social Security cuts, and even talks about fighting for her president's agenda.
Yes, she makes these sweeping claims, like tariffs will bring more revenue or that they're just a vehicle for reform. But when you listen, it almost sounds like a broken record over and over again, emphasizing that she's standing by Trump's policies.
Right, indeed. I mean, it's like she's trying to convince us that defending this agenda is the only way to protect the country. Yet her responses come off well, not very mature sometimes.
And what's even more interesting is when she interrupts the serious subject. Like, um, there's this moment where she starts making fun of a constituent's question
Yeah, that moment is
about
something else.
protecting Social Security and Medicare.
And then there's also the part about inside trading allegations tied to Trump's tariffs. That adds this whole other dimension of controversy.
Right. And she suddenly switches gears, saying stuff like, I'm going to stand by my president and fight for his agenda. Yet the details of her argument seem to lack coherence sometimes.
Exactly. I have to say I find it a bit contradictory. On one hand, she's all cooling on the notion of protecting constitutional rights, but on the other, she brags about fighting for them as a representative.
And that's a good point. It almost seems like a juggling act where, the serious issues like due process, as mentioned by Abrego Garcia's wife, are being sidelined by this performative confrontation.
Exactly. And while we're on that note, did you catch her comment about how criminals have lost benefits, but then she ties that into her anti illegal alien stance? That mix of topics confuses the narrative further.
Yes, it's like there's this inconsistent thread running through her argument. One moment she's throwing around statistics, and the next she's deflecting with personal jabs.
Yep, definitely.
And let's not forget how the video commentary points out these moments to highlight like the disconnect. They literally show clips of protesters outside and then juxtapose that with her on-screen battle with a constituent's letter.
That's right. It really makes you wonder if these kinds of divided messages only serve to further polarize people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like while some people are moved by the serious, heartfelt messages about due process and family separation, others are lured in by the spectacle of a
Right, yes, definitely.
confrontational town hall.
And here's a twist. While Greene talks about protecting our rights, she seems to miss the mark by not really engaging constructively with the actual concern of the people. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, instead of addressing the substantive issues like explaining how tariffs could increase employment or protect benefits. She spends so much time belittling a constituent's question.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's the irony in her portrayal of due process. While it's a major issue that affects, lots of families, she dismisses criticism by claiming that those who speak up are just brainwashed.
True, true. Which brings me to another angle, the role of media in framing these events. The video commentary even notes that Newsmax, generally a partisan outlet, held up this testimonial from a deported father's wife. That implies a selective presentation of perspectives.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's like the same outlet is airing one side of the story, which makes the entire event a carefully curated narrative rather than an open, balanced
Exactly,
dialogue.
indeed. So overall, it kind of feels like the town hall turns into this bizarre intersection of political showmanship and real human suffering, and not in a complimentary way.
Right. And while the spectacle of arguing with a message on a screen draws attention, it also distracts from the core issues that, are affecting everyday people.
I also found it interesting how she essentially dismisses any nuanced discussion. When someone raises a valid concern about tariff inflation or safeguarding benefits, she just, derides them and moves on to her preset talking points.
Absolutely. It's like her responses aren't really about engaging with the issue. It's more about reinforcing her stance. And that, in turn, leaves the real questions, like how due process is crucial for every citizen, barely answered.
Exactly. And, while it's easy to critique from afar, it makes you wonder, what's the broader impact on the community when their elected rep spends more time on theatrics than on discussing tangible solutions?
Precisely. It's almost like there's a disconnect between the political performance and the actual policy making that affects lives.
Yeah, definitely. Though I have to say, I find that some of her supporters might actually see this as just keeping things entertaining rather than being a rigorous debate about policy.
That's true. It's like she's tapping into this performative style that resonates with a certain crowd, even if it undermines the seriousness of the issues at hand.
Absolutely, right. And when we look at all this, it really underscores how polarized political discourse has become, where serious issues get mixed with performance and valid questions are, just brushed off.
Exactly. And that's the larger takeaway, whether it's the due process needs of an immigrant family or the toll of misguided policies. These topics deserve sober discussion instead of just, spectacles at a town hall.
I couldn't agree more. So as we wrap up, it's clear that this clip encapsulates a lot about the current state of political engagement, the blending of political theater and real societal challenges.
Precisely. It leaves us with a lot to think about, not just the policies, but also how politicians choose to communicate with the people they're meant to represent.
Absolutely.